to Motivational Radio France with your host, Longiago in Paris. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very, very much. I am privileged to speak to one of Nigerian British. Could I say that?
Yes, you can.
Okay, a Nigerian British who is making waves in Britain, and he is a motivational speaker. His name is Anyado Onyi. Am I right?
Yes, Onyi
Anyado. So he's going to speak about entrepreneurship today. Let's go. What is entrepreneurship?
Okay, Good day, Longi. Thank you for having the show today. As you rightly said, my name is Onyi Anyado. I'm a double entrepreneur, keynotes and life coach, and I specialize in leadership, entrepreneurship, and youth impact coaching. So what is entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship has been around for, here in the UK for the last 400-500 years. The first earliest definition was in 1700s. But then I realized that obviously that Africa was the cradle of that civilization. So the ancient Egyptians and the Africans in the Mesopotamian Valley were trading, were selling stuff, were selling products and services for products. So entrepreneurship, I mean, even from the early days of Abraham was around. So entrepreneurship, what is entrepreneur? In 2013, early this year, in February to be precise, I penned the following definition. An entrepreneur is a leader of excellence, trailblazer and pioneer who constantly brings change to their generation. I say again, entrepreneur is a leader of excellence, trailblazer and pioneer who constantly brings change to their generation.
Okay, that is very profound, because entrepreneurs, you're trying to say that they bring change anywhere they go.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's like a four facet attack, if that's the right word. The leader of excellence, one pioneer, a trailblazer, and they're a change agent. Constantly bring change. Okay.
Are entrepreneurs, are they born or made?
They're not born. I mean, any child, any baby that's born after 2 months, they can't even speak English, they can't even speak a language, so they're definitely not born. They're definitely made. I think they're made from their circumstances, they're made from their condition, they're made from their mindset, they're made from their upbringing, they're made from their desire, they're made from their passion, they're made from their friends, they're made from their country. So they're not made. They're not born. They're definitely made through circumstances, through choices, and through change.
Okay, so what is the main thing? Let us assume we have somebody listening who's about 10, 15 years old, and he wants to be an entrepreneur. What would you tell him?
Okay, the key element, I believe, for any entrepreneur is having a clear and defined vision that impacts the previous, the present, and the future generation. So if you're a 10-year-old in Lagos, a 15-year-old in Paris, or a 14-year-old in London, you need to have a clear and defined vision that will bring change to the previous, the present, and the future generation. So that can be a business, that could be a service, that could be a book, that could be a product, something that can bring change and help your generation. Okay,
that's wonderful. For you to have such vision, for you to have such vision at 10, do you think it's possible? Because you're saying from environment, from society and all the rest. Let us assume you come from a very poor background. How would you have such vision and you want to be an entrepreneur?
I came from a very poor background, so I think your condition or your growing up can make or break you. I mean, there's many 10-year-olds that we read about who founded their own businesses, who are selling their business on the stock exchange at the age of 10.
Right.
So I don't think poverty should be a limit. In fact, it should be a stepping stone.
Okay, right. Because I do believe that something that makes you suffer sometimes becomes a blessing, right? I feel that suffering can become a blessing somehow, because it prepares you for the future.
Most definitely. Oh yes, I mean, as a young man myself, I suffered a lot. I went through a lot, but as I said, what was meant to beat me, I can take it and make it as a testimony. So usually what we're meant to do is take our mess into a message, our breakdown into breakthrough, and our test into testimony.
Right. Could I say that is one of the reasons why you are really bent on excellence? Could I say that?
Yes. I mean, if I'm not bent on excellence, I'll be bent by mediocrity.
Right. How would you tell it? Another 10 years. Let's take with 10, because it looks like we're possessed by 10. If a 10-year-old boy is listening to you now, 10-year-old girl is listening to you, and he's talking about excellence and making or breaking and all that, how would you get this into his heart? How would you tell him that he should take care of his heart and then do something with it?
Okay, so for a 10-year-old, obviously they're in primary school, maybe just starting.
Right, we're just taking an age, just maybe 10, 20, 25. 5:30, as the case may be.
I mean, for a 10-year-old, what is excellent to them is to do their homework and look over it at least 3 or 4 times. So you do your homework once, spend another 20 minutes, half an hour looking at it again. So it's as good as you can make it to be. In fact, it's not as good; it's as excellent as that's excellence.
Okay.
That's making sure your room is tidy. When your parents are telling you to tidy up your room, make sure the socks, your boxer shorts, your shirt is in the place where it's meant to be. So when your parents come to your room, spotless. That's excellence.
Right. So could I say that your house is spotless now, as we're speaking?
Yes, it is. It's as tidy as it can be. But to be fair, I had a very lazy day. But yes, I wouldn't say spotless, but it's tidy. I can still raise the bar.
Okay, good. Just joking. All right. Okay.
It's a good question, though, to be fair, because I'm looking around now. No, it's pretty tidy. But obviously, with excellence, I can raise the bar.
Okay.
You caught me off guard there, anyway.
Okay, I know. Just pulling your legs, okay? Your toes, maybe. Okay. Listen, are there skill sets one need to develop to become an entrepreneur? Are there skill sets? I mean, there are things we can spell out and say, if I do these things, it can lead me to become an entrepreneur tomorrow.
Yes, I think I mean, when I teach, because I speak and I train and I teach on entrepreneurship as well, I give 6 fundamental factors that I believe can make an entrepreneur.
Okay.
I speak about vision. There's vision, excellence, time management, creativity, determination, and goals. Vision, excellence, time management, creativity, determination, and goals. I believe them 6 principles, if you run with it and activate it on a daily basis, you can at turn become not just an entrepreneur, but an entrepreneur of distinction.
That's cool. That's very, very high. I'm sure your listeners will say, hey, where is this man coming from? Come on. That's great. So just take one of them, for example, vision. Give us a little bit of that.
Okay, so for example, when I teach and I tell people to become an entrepreneur of distinction, you need a long-term vision. And when I mean long-term, I believe minimum a 5-year clear and defined vision. For example, here in the UK, got a deposit on a house and you can get a 25-year mortgage. That's somebody's long-range vision. Even though the person not own the house yet, that's a long-term vision.
Right.
We can sign up to a contract for mobile phone. That's a 2-year contract. That's a 2-year vision. We can get life insurance for 20 years, 10 years. That's a long-term vision. So if we can always sign up and pay and get contracts for someone else's vision, as entrepreneurs, we need to have a clear and defined vision across the board. As an entrepreneur, really is a business person, so you need to have a clear and defined vision. Even as a student, you need to have a clear and defined vision. For example, we spoke about a 10-year-old. If you're a 10-year-old, you've got to start thinking, okay, what secondary school, what college, what do I want to study, what do I want to be in life? Because the seeds that you sow today, you can achieve the harvest in 5 years' time, in 3 years' time. And that's the principle, having a long-term, clear and defined vision. That even if you're blindfolded in the dark, you can still see your vision.
Okay, good. That I understand that. I still want to ask, do we learn these skills? Are these skills learned in schools, or you have to, your parents have to teach you, for example, if you're a small person, if you're a small kid?
Unfortunately, the education system, not only in the UK, well, I mean, there's a lot of changes happening anyway, but I think, unfortunately, it doesn't encourage life skills, about vision, about purpose, about being passionate about your gifts and nurturing talent. So I believe, institutions like myself, Onion Yard, Media House, we always teach people how to think outside of the box. But no, unfortunately, I don't think the education system around the world really encourages that much life skills about purpose and about vision.
Okay, that's the negative aspect of the whole thing. Because if anybody who does not have this skill set might find it very difficult to navigate through life.
Yeah, I believe the skill set is vitally important, because if not, you can get 5 degrees, get a master's degrees, and still be unemployed, running around scratching your head thinking what's happening. So I believe from an early age it's important to be implemented, from a very early.
Fair, okay. How early? 5, 10, 12?
As early as 5, for the fact that reports are suggesting that 5-year-olds now know how to use the iPad. So if a 5-year-old can actually pick up an iPad and use a piece of technology, an iPad such as an iPad, then why not? Why not me, Michelle? What do you want to be? What's your passion? What's your gifts? Because if you can use an iPad, surely they must understand what their gifts and passion is.
That's right. Okay, that's great. Now let me ask you the next question. Does becoming an entrepreneur guarantee success? If yes, could you give us, our listeners, a practical example on the steps to follow?
Okay, very good question. I think success has to be quantified. My success and your success are 2 different things. So vision, it could to open up a clothes shop, for example.
Right. Their
success really has to be coming. The first level of success is to think of a name, register your company. That's levels of success. The next step will be open up the branch, marketing. That's different levels of success. The only way you're going to be successful is if you write and achieve. That's a level of success. Remember, my success and your success are completely different.
Sure. Okay, so writing it out and then taking it through.
Oh yes, and then you're successful. For example, one of my goals today, one of my visions today was to send a few emails and make quite a few phone calls. I ticked off my goals and I achieved. It was very straightforward, very successful.
To say, because even from your voice, I can hear the seriousness. I can hear that seriousness. Let us say, yes, you don't laugh. Let's say somebody who's not, come on, you're still laughing. Well, somebody who's not like you, somebody who's not that straightforward, who doesn't have that conquering heart. How would you ginger that person?
If you don't achieve your vision, I always tell people, if you don't achieve your vision, someone else is going to achieve. If you don't write that book, someone else is going to write it.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't lose weight, someone else you're gonna be eating in a fast food restaurant and seeing someone slim and walking past, thinking, oh my gosh, if only that could have been me. So if you don't achieve that vision, have that determination, like we spoke about earlier, that passion to achieve your vision, then no one else is going to do it. I mean, I'm a life coach. I do a lot of personal life coaching. But at the same time, there's only so much I can do. So it's down to the individual, how much they really want it, how hungry are they for it.
Okay, so everything depends on the individual, right? So you're saying that somehow our success depends on us, the individual.
Oh yeah, without any shadow of a doubt. I mean, I can give an example. My first book I wrote, I've written 8 books, self-published 2. The third one's coming out soon. My first book I wrote without a laptop or any money. I didn't have a penny to my name, not one single pound to my name. I didn't have a laptop, but I still managed to step out in faith, write my book. I used scrap paper. Imagine I waited until I could have money to buy paper. I used scrap paper. I went to different internet cafes, asking them, literally begging them, can I use your computer? I didn't have no money, let alone my own laptop, but I still managed to write a book. But if I didn't take that step, no one else is going to write it.
Okay, so it still boils down to the whole thing that you really, everything that happens to you depends on your reactions.
Oh yes. How much do you really want? And it's not going to be easy to achieve that vision or write that book or start that business or lose weight. But if you don't do it, then who's going to do it for you?
So, word, you're saying it is one thing to have a vision and nothing to act on your vision.
Oh yes. I mean, let's take the 10-year-old again, the famous 10-year-old.
Right.
His mum will say, Johnny, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a pharmacist, for example. Okay, brilliant, congratulations. And the mum gives him a kiss, and he writes it on his wall. And for 10 years, he's living at home. They're still on the wall. He doesn't go to college. He doesn't do well at school. Just lazes around. He doesn't do nothing. But another 10-year-old say, I want to be a pharmacist. But from 10 years of age, his mummy is telling him to read pharmacist journals, planning out, okay, what's the best colleges, what's the best universities, how much time do I need to put into becoming a pharmacist? And that's what will distinguish you from becoming a pharmacist and not becoming a pharmacist.
Okay, so the amount of work and determination you have determines what you get.
Without any shadow of a doubt. Okay. There's many speakers out there. I believe that in my generation, in my community, no speakers are doing what I'm doing because I'm putting the work in.
Okay, so you're special. Are you going to say that?
I'm special, but I like to call myself distinguished. I'm a distinguished speaker because I've put in the work in. I've raised a clear and defined vision, and I've said no to mediocrity. Made up my mind.
Did you learn this in school? Let's dig into that. How did you come into this excellent thing? What was it? How did you come to this level?
I certainly didn't learn it in school. I mean, I went to school. I done pretty well. Didn't do that great. Certainly didn't do it in college. College was just a runaround. I went to university. I didn't even finish university. It's not until I became a Christian that, I began reading the Bible, going to church, and I understood about the principle about excellence, because excellence is a universal thing as well as a biblical thing. And then I realized that I led a life of mediocrity. I led a life of no purpose. So if I'm a new creature, new creation, and I'm on another level in life, I can't be mediocre. In fact, I despise mediocrity. I despise it with a passion. I despise it.
Wow.
I was mediocre.
So could you say it's the Bible that turned it on, or you're becoming a Christian, or what is it? What was that one thing that really changed the whole thing for you?
Certainly becoming a Christian. The 2nd of November 2008, I became a born-again Christian, and my journey began again. Or my journey began, I should say.
So if you, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to become excellent tomorrow, please become a born-again Christian by Anyado. Could we say that?
Well, first and foremost, if you want to become a born-again Christian, yes, you become a born-again Christian, but there's many mediocre born-again Christians.
That's what I'm saying, you see, because I have seen so many of them, and that, yeah. I mean, there's a discrepancy here. So is it a personal thing, or is it a universal thing?
Is a personal thing. I mean, I didn't have to I've raised the bar so high that even my competitors have raised their hand in surrender. I raised the bar so high.
So you're very hard on yourself. Is that what you're saying?
I have to be, because I'm now a reference point and blessing my generation. So it's not just for me. Once you get to a point in life when you realize that your vision, gifts, your talent, it's not about you. It's about serving your generation. It's about serving your community. It's about serving the previous, the present, and the future generations. And how can I do that mediocre? It's not fair on them. So when I rise up to new levels of excellence, people that are following me or watching me rise up to new levels of excellence as well. That's why I once said a famous quote that many people say, and I said, the people around you will begin to step up to excellence, knowing they have been in a comfort zone for far too long. The people around them will also step up, and before you know it, there is a generation of people who have stepped out of their comfort zone and into new realms of excellence.
Just by the way, just by following you, right?
I'll say again.
Okay, go ahead.
When you walk in excellence, people around you will begin to step up to excellence, knowing they have been in the comfort zone for far too long. The people around them will also step. Before you know it, there is a generation of people who have stepped out of their comfort zone and into new realms of excellence.
Okay, very profound, I guess. That's very profound. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking to an excellent human being. So it's very heartwarming that I'm speaking to a very excellent man. Very good. Now, listen, there are lots of youths listening to us down there in Lagos or anywhere in Nigeria and around Africa and in the world. What would you tell any youth anywhere on this planet? What is the first thing to do to become an entrepreneur?
Have a clear and defined vision. What do you want to be in life? What do you want to be in life? Is it a doctor? Is it a footballer? Is it a lawyer? Is it a speaker? Is it an author? Is it a businessman? If it's a businessman or businesswoman, what business? What do you want to be in life? Because if you don't know what you're going to be in life, it's going to end up a wandering generality, rather a wonder to your generation. So my point to every young person listening to this around the world: what do you want to be in life? That's the key. What's your vision? What's your dream? What's your passion? You need to identify it and find it. Begin to run.
Great. Right. That was awesome. I love every bit of what you have just said, and I guess our listeners will also key into this story and maybe look around and see their life and try to change if there are room for changes, because I believe that anybody can turn his or her life around if you know exactly what you want.
Oh yes, I did. I made up my mind. I as a young man, I still am young, I lived the street life where 6 of my friends got shot dead. I nearly got shot dead, so I lived that life. I lived that life. I've been there and done it, and I was fed up of being fed up. Sometimes as young people, you have to be fed up of being fed up.
Okay.
You have to be.
Right. Do you have anything, again, you wanted to speak about on entrepreneurship before we go to leadership?
Yes, as I said, right now the world once again is embracing entrepreneurship. I believe for any human being, whether they're white, black, young, old, rich or poor, this is the greatest opportunity of time to really embrace the whole entrepreneurship. Who is an entrepreneur? An entrepreneur is a leader of excellence, trailblazer and pioneer, constantly brings change to the generation. To be remembered for anything, be remembered for becoming a visionary leader, becoming an entrepreneur of distinction. Bless your generation with your gifts, with your vision. Because if you're not blessing your generation, you're going to end up being a burden to your generation.
Okay, let's walk into leadership.
Yes, sir.
Leadership skills has always been a very vast domain. People are into leadership here and there, training and all sorts of seminars. So in one word, how would you define leadership, and what is leadership skills?
Very good question. I think how I would define leadership, or how we at Onion and Yard on Me, is having a global and generational vision impacting the previous, present and future generation. Having a global and generational vision that impacts the previous, present and future generation. For me, that's leadership.
Don't you think this is a tall order?
No. Reason why: I'm in the UK. I've got an iPad. I'm using the iPad. I've actually got an iPad on my lap as I'm relaxing speaking to you.
Okay.
The iPad wasn't made in the United Kingdom. That means that's a global vision. It wasn't made in the UK. So that's one, a global vision. Two, a generational vision. Earlier today, I've done some shopping. I went to Tesco. So it's a supermarket. Tesco was founded in the early 1900s. That's the generational vision. Global and generation. Every day we consume, we buy products and services which are global and generational. Sometimes we don't even realize that. So if we're every day on a daily basis consuming and buying products and services which are global and generational, we ourselves as individuals need to become producers of global and generational visions. Oh yes.
Okay, that's it. So you have to think far. You have to have a very high vision and very far vision.
Without any shadow of a doubt. You have to start small, of course. Start small, have daily goals and have a short-term vision, but you have to think long-term.
Okay, so these leaders, people who think very far, far, are they born or made again? I'd like to know, because I'm always very interested in having the skill set or being born with the thing. So are they born or made?
They're definitely made, as I said, ironically enough or sarcastically enough. You're not born with leadership skills in that sense. I speak from my own experience. As a young man living that particular lifestyle, I was more of a follower. I wasn't really a leader, but now I'm a leader in my own right, or leader in other men's right, and leader from heaven. So in that sense, it's a gradual time. It's how much, once again, how far can you see? How many people do you want to influence positively? So no, to answer your question, leaders are certainly not born. I think they were made by your condition, by your choice, by the environment around you.
Okay, let us say choose our environments, do we? Especially when we are children, we don't choose our environment. More or less, our environment choose us, more or less. But if you ever see, when you grow up, say like 10, 15, and you begin to see that the environment where you live is not very conducive, what do you need in that case?
Start dreaming. Start seeing yourself. Start dreaming your dreams. How can I get out of this? How can I get out of this state? What can I do? Do I need to train more? Do I need to get another job? Do I need to pray more? What do I need to do to take myself to the next level? It's not going to be easy, but you've got to see it to believe.
That you have to see it in your mind first.
Yes, you have to have that mental. You have to have the mental picture. If not, you're just going to see the conditions. And remember, we walk by faith and not by sight.
Right. Is it possible to pray your way?
Sorry?
Is it possible to pray your way to success?
No, you can pray your way to success, but you have to do the diligence as well. Proverbs 22:29 says, "Do you see a man who is diligent in his work?" It didn't say, "Do you see a man who prays?" Prayer is very important for Christians, but at the same time, too many Christians are pray, no work.
That's it. Because I was just going there. Lots of people pray and believing that prayer just be enough for giving them food. I doubt if it's the thing. Not going to give. So when you work and pray, then you begin to see results, I guess.
Most definitely. For Christians, that is anyway, because there's many successful individuals who don't pray.
Who don't even go to church.
Yeah.
Who do not go to church.
Diligence is a universal principle.
Okay.
Because if a Muslim man or an atheist or a one-legged man doesn't work, they're not going to eat 9 times out of 10.
Now let's go back. Do we have leadership skill sets? If yes, what are they?
I think core value, and it's interesting. I think there's not really much of a distinction between my definition of a leader and an entrepreneur. Once again, you need to have a clear and defined vision. How far can you see? What can you see? You have to have this resoluteness, this determination to never give up. I heard my story in 2010. I didn't have no money. I didn't have a laptop, but I managed to write. You've got to constantly raise the bar of excellence. How can I improve myself from yesterday, from last month? You've got to be creative. Think outside of there's so much opportunities out there. You have to set daily goals, weekly goals, monthly goals. Even if it's waking up half an hour earlier to get to work, that's a daily goal. Tick it off. Got to be got to be creative, as I said. Time management. One of the things that I always speak about is time management. One has to know how to manage, master, and maximize their time. Every great leader that we can speak about, I guarantee you, every great entrepreneur that we're inspired by, I guarantee they know how to manage, master, and maximize their time. Manage, master, and maximize their time. I guarantee you.
Is it learnable?
It is. You have to teach yourself. You're the best teacher. You're yourself. And how do you learn? It's by setting goals. So, for example, if someone wants to get into, he's got a lot of work to do in the office, their goal for the week should be, okay, I want to wake up 45 minutes earlier. It might not be easy for the first 2 days, but you've got to learn how to manage yourself. Say, hey, let me get off social media. Let me switch off the TV. Let me go to bed early so I can wake up an hour earlier, 45 minutes earlier. Then you get into work, you finish all the upload of work, you have an easy day, you have a great lunch, and you come home and relax. Rather than rushing in at work at 9:30, and then before you know it, the day's finished and you haven't achieved nothing. You go home and you're tired and you manage, master, maximize your time. Every human being, white, black, young, old, rich and poor, have many things in common. Many things. One thing every human being has got on this God-given planet is time. 24 hours in a day. In fact, let me go as far as say that the most important currency, the most valuable currency is not the Nigerian naira, it's not the English British pound, it's not the euro, it's not the dollar, it's time. That's the best currency, time.
What you do with it determines what you get, isn't it?
Oh yes. And with social media now, sometimes it doesn't help our time management because we can spend tired and it's let me go to sleep. So one has to learn how. I've been there. One has to learn how to manage, master, maximize their time.
So you're talking from experience, right?
Yes, sir. Most definitely. Everything. It's interesting. In February, when I read the definition of an entrepreneur, I didn't realize I was actually speaking about myself. An entrepreneur is a leader of excellence, trailblazer, and pioneer. Constantly brings change to the generation. I never knew I was speaking to myself about myself.
Right. Let's take the word trailblazer, because the trailblazer trailblazer is somebody who really leaving footpaths here and there, leaving things behind him, open the road kind of where there are no roads. And so, how as an entrepreneur, could you go into that picture a little bit more by the trailblazer thing? Could you call a picture for us?
So, for example, I believe 9 times out of 10, or sometimes, trailblazers are unsung heroes. What do I mean? A safari, a group of tourists are going to Kenya. They're going on a safari hunt into the deep bush, and the guide, the Kenyan guide, he's got the big cutlass, the big machete, and they're walking through the bush, and he's cutting the bush. So he's leading the way, but he's bringing people along. So trailblazer is a leader.
An entrepreneur too, right? So,
yes.
What is what I don't catch up here is what's the connection between a trailblazer and an entrepreneur?
Okay, as I said, my definition is a leader of excellence, trailblazer. So you're leading the way. You're leading with excellence in hand. Who are leaders of mediocrity? Some people are followers of excellence. Some people are followers of mediocrity. You have to become a leader of excellence and a trailblazer, where you're bringing everyone along with you. You're blazing the trails. You're out front, but you're not just doing it for me, myself, and I. You're doing it for your generation that's coming behind you. That's a trail. You're leaving sign points of distinction, sign points of excellence that people can look at and say, oh, wow, he wrote a book with no money. Okay, if he can write a book with no money and I've got money, let me write my, wow, he traveled, he's doing this, she's doing that. If he done it and he done it like that, I can do it as well. That's a trailblazer, inspiring your generation while you're leading the way, doors, and opening up paths for your generation.
Okay, very wonderful. This is great. We're speaking about leadership development or leadership skills. And for you, leadership skills are the whole thing that we need to really affect our generation. People coming behind us, thinking outside the box. Because and then if for any reasons it's not there tomorrow, and then anybody coming behind him cannot sustain that. Are you going to pin that to leadership skills, or what? What is it?
I think if someone doesn't sustain, for example, what Richard Branson done, they didn't catch the vision. They didn't catch or understand the vision. They didn't catch Richard Branson's fire, his distinction, his uniqueness. And if let's just say you're part of his family, part of his close friends or leaders under Richard Branson, if you cannot catch this man's vision, but someone like myself has caught it, then they don't deserve to be in that position. So it's a two-pronged theory, really. The visionary leader, Richard Branson, has to make sure writes the vision, makes it plain for every leader to run with, understand it on a day-to-day basis. Then at the same time, the followers who are the leaders and the second in command have to really catch that fire and understand Richard Branson's vision is all about.
Okay, impact coaching.
Okay, I mean, as I said, leadership and entrepreneurship is quite for me anyway. As the man I am, I like to intertwine it between. And now is the time to become a pace setter in your generation. Become a leader in your chosen field. If you're a barber, if you're a hairdresser, if you're a doctor, if you're an entrepreneur, if you own your own accounting firm, this is the time to become a leader in your chosen field, to become that reference point of excellence for your generation, for your community, for your nation, for the world. Now is the time.
Okay, so this is the time to act. Now is the time to act, to become a reference point.
Oh yes, for your a reference point of excellence for your generation. Lead the way. Become a trailblazer. Become a pioneer. Do what no one in your generation is doing. And people are not going to like you. That's the funny thing I like about it. But hey, if you're poor, people are going to talk. If you're rich, people are going to talk. If you're not doing anything, people are going to talk. If you do something, people are going to talk. Now is the time.
Okay. Now let's switch on to youth impact coaching. What is it?
Okay, for me, youth impact coaching is when I go to schools, I go to colleges, and I really train, I equip, I coach, I inspire, I motivate young people really between the age of really from 11 to 16 to really fulfill their potential with excellence in hand.
Right. So what is it that you tell them? What's the core message?
Once again, how to become a student of distinction. What's your vision? Longi, the key here, the key word that keeps popping up is vision. As you know, in the Bible says that people perish from a lack. Right. So for me, I believe everyone's got a destiny to fulfill, and I believe your destiny is connected to your gifts, your talents, your passion, and your vision. So the first thing I tell these young people is, what do you want to be in life? What do you want to be? Is it a footballer? Is it a musician? Is it a lawyer? Is it what you want to be? Because that's the first step. You have to identify what these young people want to be in life, and then from then, I give them the strategies, I give them the impartation, I give them the coaching for them to write their days. I mean, I travel up and down the country, and I go to many schools, and it's sad, and it's embarrassing, and it's quite dangerous that many 16 and many 11 haven't got a clue what they want to be in life. You're 16, in a few months you're leaving school to go to college, and you don't know what you want to be in life. That's dangerous.
Uni, let me come in here. I also do teaching. I teach in a private institution here. And when I ask my students what they want to be, and I always get conflicting answers from them. And I've discovered that it is really very difficult for a 15, 16, 17-year-old boy or girl to know what he or she wants to be. Don't forget that they haven't had any experiences. They don't. Okay? And so the only experience they do have, just 1 minute, the only experience they do have is maybe from their parents. Maybe, for example, somebody's father who has a father who is an engineer, for example, sees his father every day coming back home or manipulating machines and all the rest. And say, oh, I'd like to be this because my father is that. Okay? If for any reasons your father is not an engineer, not a pilot, not a teacher, but just a trader, how would you expect that child to know what he wants to be in life?
By being asked a question.
How
what
do
do
you
you want to be in life?
Mm-hmm.
That's the start. That really, I mean, my teaching, my leadership, entrepreneurship is nothing. It's not science. It's not from excuse me. It's not from outer space. It's just really simple. What do you want to be? And many 15-year-olds, many have never been asked by a teacher, by their parents, by their friends, by someone like myself, what do you want? That's one of the most things you can ask any young person.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to? Even if they say, I don't know what to do. Many young people ask me that. Okay, that's not the end of the world. I always say to them, if you can have a choice to have any free businesses, any free jobs, I'll give you 1 day to write it on paper. What would you do? And you'd be surprised because they start thinking now. They start thinking, okay, what would I like to be in the UK or anywhere around the world? The education system doesn't make you think outside of the box, or in fact, doesn't make you think outside of the box. So when I speak to young people, and even if they say, I don't know what I want to be, I tell them, okay, go home, think about it, and write 3 jobs or 3 businesses, anything you like to do in the world, and you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised.
Okay, so what do you do from there?
Okay, so for example, a 15-year-old say they want to become an accountant. Mm-hmm. Okay, brilliant. From 15 years of age, I always challenge them, I always teach them, I always coach them. Start reading accountancy journals. Go online, go onto Google, and let's Google free accountancy journals. You can get it free as an email. So you can start understanding the language of accountancy, because what they teach you in school and in college is completely different to what you know on the outside.
That's right.
I also tell them, if you can during the summer, go and get work experience. Go and get, even if it's for 1 day, go and work in an accountancy firm so you can at least get that reference on your CV. Mm-hmm. You can get that experience, because experience is much better than qualifications. Then I tell them to identify the top colleges, the top universities. So that's like a 5-year vision already. Mm-hmm. And we take it from there.
Okay.
Once they caught that vision, once they see it, they become unstoppable.
Okay, so you in fact, you are a kind of a magnifier of images or vision. You help them to...
I'm a visionary leader.
That's right, you help them to magnify the image. Okay, why youth? What of adults? Because some adults are also guilty of this problem. Because some adults do not, even if they're adults, do not know exactly what they want to do in life.
I never discriminate between a young person, or old person, a white person, a black person, and it's the same principle.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to be in life? I've had 60-year-old clients who are only starting their life
right.
as 60-year-old.
Mm-hmm. Because I believe that...
And you're never too old to...
That's right, I guess. I have a feeling that sometimes lots of people, I guess about 50, 60, 70% of people do not, or most of the time, do not do exactly what they wanted to do in life. For example, somebody who's a taxi driver, for example, and he was not maybe from nature got out to be a taxi driver, but because of the fact that he did not, or he was not able to choose the kind of job he wanted to do in life, he ended up becoming a taxi driver.
Yes.
You see, and that's very strange, isn't it? That's very, very, very bad for that kind of person.
Yes.
Because he might not be happy in the job.
Most definitely.
Yes. I had a friend, let me tell you my personal story this time. I had a friend who was driving a taxi. He was taxi driving and all the rest. And he called me up and said that he is making a lot of money from that, and that he would like me to come and join him to become a taxi driver. I told him categorically that if that is the only job remaining in this planet, that I wouldn't want to do it. Not because taxi drivers are bad, I didn't say that, but I was not. I knew that I was not cut out to be a taxi driver, and I told him I didn't want to do that. Can you believe that guy today is in the university? He's gone back to school, going to study law because of me.
Wow.
Right,
wow.
Going to study law. So, because I told him I didn't want to do that. So he's kept driving and driving and driving. After 4 or 5 years, he quit the job and then went back to school. Very profound, right?
That's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So that's it. So I think one of the keys to success is knowing exactly in clear terms what it is you are cut out to be and cut out to do on this planet. We all have a purpose, I guess.
Yes, to certain every human.
Wow. Okay. So, in a nutshell, well, let us try to round the whole thing up. What would you tell our listeners, those who are listening to us, and those who listen to Motivational Radio France? What would you tell them? And can you tell us exactly the kind of books you've written, how many of them, where we can buy them if we want to, and all that? Do you counsel online, for example?
Okay. I've got 2 websites. I've written 8 books. My first book is Hitting a Target. No, what's it called again? Yeah, Hitting a Target: A 12-Month Guide to Distinction. Mm-hmm. It's more of a I've actually sold out all the books anyway. It's actually a training manual where you can write all your weekly goals. I will give the reader the strategies, inspiration to achieve it. It's got 52 acronyms from words using the goals, vision. It's more of a training manual. My second book is a groundbreaking book again. It's called The Doorway to Distinction, 200 quotes to inspire you to reach levels of excellence. And it's 200 original quotes, my own quotes, never been written before in the history of literature. 25 on excellence, 25 on distinction, 25 on vision, 25 on goals. As I said, I've written 8 books. My third book's coming out very, 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 very soon. I won't be giving out the title, but it's a great title.
I guess.
my web resources, I've got my TV station via the YouTube. So my first website is www.oamediahouse.com. That's www.O for Oscar, A for Alpha, mediahouse.com. If you click on the YouTube link, I've got so much videos on leadership, on excellence, on time management, on vision, on goals. Subscribe to it so you can really get the weekly updates, the monthly updates. Also, I'm a keynote speaker. I recently won 2 awards. So if you would like for me to speak at your university, conference or seminar, once again, go to www.mediahouse.com. That's oamediahouse.com. Follow me on Twitter. I'll follow you back. Like the Facebook page. I do online coaching over Skype. Skype has transformed the world, the coaching world as we know it, let alone the business world. So
that's right.
I can do coaching face-to-face or over the phone. And that's for me. The website is www.b1coaching.com. www.letterboaching.com. www.b1coaching.com.
Okay, wonderful. We have everything about you is there so that anybody who wants to get in touch with you can without any hesitation. Or anybody who wants to get through to you can call Motivational Radio France, and we'll link up to you as well.
Yes.
All right?
Brilliant.
Okay, very wonderful. I hope our listeners would have a jolly good time listening to you. And all the advice you've given us today, I hope I would catch you again maybe sometime soon.
Thank you very much, sir, for having me. It's a real privilege and an honor. Thank you.
Okay, it's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. This podcast was brought to you by the Motivational Radio France with their host, Lord Jaguar and Barris.